Silent resentment rarely begins with hatred. It often begins with small disappointments that were never expressed, boundaries that were repeatedly crossed, needs that remained unspoken, and sacrifices that were quietly expected to be recognized. A person may tolerate something that hurts them because they fear conflict, rejection, judgment, or abandonment. Instead of addressing the problem, they suppress their reaction and continue the relationship as though nothing happened. But emotional suppression does not erase the experience. The mind records every moment in which the person felt ignored, taken for granted, disrespected, or unfairly treated. Over time, these experiences accumulate into an invisible emotional account. The person may continue behaving politely while internally becoming increasingly distant. Their affection becomes weaker. Their patience becomes shorter, and ordinary interactions begin carrying the weight of previous disappointments. Silent resentment is particularly dangerous because the other person may not realize that anything is wrong. The relationship appears functional on the surface while emotional connection is gradually deteriorating underneath. Sometimes the resentful person expects others to recognize their pain without being told, believing that genuine care should make explanation unnecessary. When that recognition does not arrive, resentment deepens. The person feels even more invisible and uses the absence of recognition as confirmation that their needs do not matter. What began as an unspoken hurt becomes a pattern of emotional withdrawal, passive hostility, coldness, and internal judgment. The relationship may eventually collapse under the weight of grievances that were never given a healthy opportunity to be understood. The hidden roots of silent resentment often lie in difficulty expressing needs and establishing boundaries. A person may have learned early that speaking honestly creates conflict, while staying quiet creates temporary peace. This teaches the mind to associate silence with safety. The individual becomes skilled at enduring discomfort but inexperienced at communicating it. They say yes, while internally wanting to say no. They offer help while secretly feeling used. They forgive without processing the injury. They continue giving while expecting the other person to eventually notice the imbalance. When recognition fails to appear, resentment becomes a substitute for direct communication. Healing requires breaking this pattern without turning suppressed pain into aggression. Healthy expression means identifying what happened, recognizing the emotional impact, communicating needs clearly, and accepting that other people may not always respond as hoped. Boundaries become essential because resentment often grows where boundaries are repeatedly ignored or never clearly established. A person cannot expect others to respect limits they have never communicated. At the same time, communicating a boundary does not guarantee that another person will honor it. If they continue violating it, the response may need to involve distance rather than continued silent endurance. The deepest transformation occurs when the person stops using silence as protection and begins using honesty as self-respect. This does not mean expressing every emotion immediately or turning every disappointment into confrontation. It means refusing to allow unspoken grievances to accumulate until affection becomes contaminated by bitterness. You can care about someone and still communicate what hurts. You can forgive without pretending nothing happened. You can say no without becoming cruel. You can leave an unhealthy situation without needing years of accumulated resentment to justify the decision. Silent resentment begins to disappear when emotional honesty replaces silent expectation. The goal is not to become more confrontational. It is to become more authentic. When needs can be expressed, boundaries can be established, and disappointments can be processed, relationships no longer have to carry the invisible weight of everything that was never said.